Hey, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to the second video on the Zoom G1X-FOUR or the G1-4, the only difference being this expression pedal here. And in the first video, we covered the four major or primary operating modes of this pedal. And those modes were the memory or the default patch bank mode, where you just have access to all your patch banks here, the rhythm function, the looper function, and the tuner function. Those were the four primary or major operating modes that we covered in the first video. In this video, we're going to cover the four secondary operating modes of this pedal. And we're going to access those using these two buttons, which I told you to ignore in the first video because they weren't relevant. Well, they're relevant now because they're going to basically be how we access the four secondary operating modes of the pedal. So let's get going. This is going to take a little while. I'll keep it as short and concise as possible. The left button lets you cycle through three of the modes: memory, Stomp-Box, and edit. Memory, or patch bank; Stomp-Box, I'll come back to that in a minute; or edit. Edit's where you basically think what you think of, where you want to edit your pedal chain and everything. That's where you're going to do it in edit mode. We'll come back to that in a moment. Those are the three modes you can cycle through with the left button. The right button takes you into and then back out of the system settings. I say into and out of because if I drill down further, let's go and set up here, I can't get back. There's no back button. I have to go all the way back out and then all the way back into whatever system thing that I want. So this takes you into and out of the system settings. Let's come back and drill down more now on this left button. The default or the first cycle mode is memory. As I said, it's the same as the first video. It's the default operating mode number 1, which is where you patch through all of your patch banks here. You got the 10 through 59 patch banks right here. So this is where you do that in your default memory mode. No difference in the first mode here and the first mode in the primary. The second mode you can cycle through is Stomp-Box mode. Now in Stomp-Box mode, it allows us to selectively enable and disable, or off and on, just like it was a hard button, off and on pedals in the pedal chain. But you can do that two ways. One way is just tapping these buttons. You can see it gray out and the light obviously goes off. That deactivates that pedal. But you can also use the foot pedals down here, the foot switches down here to do that. The right one is, you see we're in Stomp. There's reverse copy, white box, selects the pedal you want to target. Okay. The left turns it off and on. Pretty straightforward. The light goes off, it grays out, off and on. That's all there is to Stomp-Box mode, or the second of the minor or secondary operating modes of Stomp-Box. It just lets you turn pedals off and on, nothing more. Okay, buckle your seatbelts. Here we go. We're going to start getting a little bit more detailed now with the edit mode, which is the third of the secondary or minor operating modes that you can cycle through with the left button: memory or patch bank, Stomp-Box, off and on, or the edit mode. In edit mode, these buttons now correspond to whatever is in that slot of the pedal chain. I no longer have this full visual display. I'm actually being told what the pedal is, but I can see I'm on the first slot, and the first slot is a compressor. Now from here, I can do two things. I can change the effect if I want to using these pedals cycling up and down, and that would change the effect. Or I can change the parameters of the effect that is selected using the rotary dials up here. Just as a physical pedal would have dials to affect the parameters, these dials affect the parameters of the selected effect. Okay, so that's the edit mode. So let's say I wanted to change this. Let's go back here. I want to change that compressor to a different compressor. I would go into edit. I would select there. I want to select, turn it on. I'm in slot number 1. I'm on compressor. I'm just going to change that to a rack compressor. I like that the way it is. So I'm good to go now. I've made my edit. But you may ask, how do I save this edit? How do I make sure I don't lose this edit if I really like it? Well, that gets to some of the system settings over here that we can talk about now, but we'll begin with one just to give you an example, and that is the save function. So to get to that save function, you're going to go over here to settings. You'll see you'll see 5 options. They correspond to the 5 buttons, and the middle one is save. I'm going to tap save. The top one is my current patch, where it quickly covered up. The bottom one's my target patch. See where it says both foot switches equal save? They're not joking. You got to hit these at the same time. Because if you accidentally hit one first, it will increment your target. And that's not what you want, because then you can accidentally, oh, I didn't hit it, and then you hit it again, and you do save it, and you save it over this other one. So that's not really what you want to do. Or you may be, but you want to make sure you do it intentionally. Both to save. It's very important that you understand that principle, because it will bite you if you're not paying attention, because you'll, like I said, you'll accidentally increment something here. Okay, so we'll come back to that more in a minute, but that's how we save an effect if we're here in Patch Bank, Stomp-Box, Edit Mode, right? So that covers Edit Mode. Incidentally, why don't we go to let's go to one that's got an open slot. Let's see, how about, is electric? No, that's all full. Okay, here's one, electric wah. This is a good one for an example. You can see now I have 2 open slots in my pedal chain, okay? And those 2 lights are not lit. So if I light it, if I tap it, it immediately takes me into edit mode. Did you see that switch? You probably didn't notice. It immediately, because there was nothing there and I activated it, it took me into edit mode. Now I can select what I want. You may say, you know what, man, I don't know. I'm going to cycle through all these things. Is there a way to shortcut that? There is. You can hold this down, and then while you're holding it down, you can, that's very hard to do, right? That's really hard to do. So we're not going to really mess with that. We're just going to cycle through this and get to what we want, all right, if that's what we want. Incidentally, the Guitar Lab software is going to make all of this a lot more easier, I'm confident. But we're covering the physical operation of the pedal right now. Okay, let's get out of that. Let's go over here. Hey, it knows that I tried to edit something. I got off this patch and I said, hey, that's been edited. Do you want to save this or not? It's saving your butt right here because it's got a setting that's on in these system settings that we're going to talk about in just a minute. Right now, I know I don't want to edit. I don't want to save that, so I'm going to get back out of that. Okay, let's get back over here to my acoustic one. We've pretty much covered now the memory, the Stomp-Box mode, off and on, and the editing of the pedal chain mode, where you select the slot you want, these change the effect you're on, and these dial in the parameters of the effect. Pretty simple. That was the first part of the video. The second half of the video is going to be covering all the settings that are available. So grab your popcorn and a coffee or a beer or whatever. Sit back and let's talk about those. When I tap into system settings to start with, you can see I'm given 5 options. Those options correspond to the 5 functions down here at the bottom. What are those? Pedal chain function, patch edit function, your save function, which we previewed a minute ago, system setup, and your power options, and this LCD screen options are what are available here. Let's start with the chain. So I am here now and I want to go, so I'm just regular patch bank mode. I'm going to go into my system settings and I want to edit my pedal chain. Why would I want to edit my pedal chain? This lets me swap effects in an existing pedal chain. So let's say I didn't like the pedal here. I wanted actually the pedal in my very last slot. To swap those, very easy. I get 2 taps. The first tap is what I want to move. The second tap is where I want to move it. I want to move the pedal and I want to move it to Hall. And there it goes. Moved it for me, no problem. Don't like that? Move it back. Want to move something else somewhere else? You can do this all day long. You're just switching around pedals in your board. Very, very handy if you just want to experiment with you know, the sequence of your pedals. Okay, so where were we? All the way back out again. That was pedal chain. Let's talk about the second option, which is your patch option. Now in this one, you can set the name of the patch that you're on, and the default value goes up to 120. Interestingly, I keep mine at about 100, 105, somewhere around in that neighborhood. Typically, it just depends on what I'm doing. Some of my hotter patches, I've dialed down the level because I just felt like they were too hot. We're ready now to set a name. So let me tell you what, let's go into, let's do this. Let's get back out of this. And no, I don't want to save that. Here's one, Sparkle 1E, whatever. That was supposed to say Sparkle, okay? So this is a good example for I want to do a patch edit. I'm going to click patch. Now I am on the name. Okay, the first one is my character selector, and there are special characters like number signs and stuff like that available. The second one is the position that I'm on, and the third one lets me skip through the major character banks. Okay, so I'm going to come over here, and I actually wanted that to be a K, so now I'm going to dial it up 1. Oh, look, it's jumping around. Wait a minute, what's that doing? I don't want that. Yeah, that's all right. I'm going to come back down here to L. Just pay attention. Duh. Sparl. Next letter. K. Oops. Ha. Good grief. Can't even spell, can I? See the velocity sensitivity? I can go quickly through stuff now. It's not just a fix. Oh, that velocity sensitive is so cool. So, there we go. I've got Sparkle. Get out of here, fly. I've got Sparkle. I'm good to go. I'm now ready to save that. Come out of here. Save. Both of them. And it is now called Sparkle. Right? There we go. So that's a patch setting. Let's talk about that save. Because incidentally, there's another function here that you might not know about if you don't pay attention or read the manual or just start experimenting, right? See this knob right here where it says save? There's another option. It's called swap. So on swap, just like on that patch, I could move my pedals around. Well, when I'm in save, if I'm on swap, I can now switch like 27 with 42. Boom, boom, if I want to do that, right? So what you would do is select, by default it knows where you're at. It's really asking you where you want to go. So I would just say, oh, I want to go to, I want to swap those two, 51 and 53. And then I would both to execute, and I've made my swap. I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to do that. But that's how you would do swap. It is here in the save function. Let's go into the setup function. We're pretty much on the downslope now, guys. BPM is your default BPM for the entire system, right? Beats per minute. That's your default for the whole system. Obviously, you can edit it in different places, but here's where you set your default. Autosave off and on. If your autosave is off and you try and make a change a patch after you've done some edits, it will alert you, as it did for me earlier, hey, do you want to save your edits? That's good, because it gives you the ability to experiment before you actually commit to a change. That's why I keep my autosave off. However, if you want to just have live, just like a real pedal, you change a knob, it's changed, there's no way to revert, so to speak, to a physical knob, you would put autosave on, and then any edit you make in this pedal is instantly saved. It never asks you again. It's just instantly saving anything that you do. So I keep mine on off. For those reasons, I like to be in control of when I save, and I like to experiment before I actually commit a save. These last two functions here, where we're in the setup mode in system settings, the fourth button, these are what I consider to be more performance sort of based options. Your patch pre-select and your patch bank hold. Pre-select basically means this. By default, pre-select is off and bank hold is off. Both of these performance options are off. And what that basically means is when I'm in my memory or patch bank mode, every change I make is instant. So I'm now on that patch. I'm now on that patch, right? Well, suppose I want to get from 50 to 37. I don't want to I don't want to go through all that crap. I want to just basically, right? I just want to get right to 37 without any audible changes in the middle. Well, for that, you would basically do the, pre-select. If you turn that on, you can actually patch up, right? And then both of them to hit it, right? That's how you would pre-select if you were using the pre-select function. And that lets you skip around before you actually execute the change. By default, it's off. I typically use mine as off unless I'm in a performance mode. But even when I'm in performance mode, I've got my pedal set up a little bit differently. And I would probably, I use these patch banks for individual things like rock songs, ballad songs, acoustic songs, or something like that. So how you set up your pedal is up to you. But these are performance options. Let's talk about the second one, and that is bank hold. Okay, by default, bank hold means if I'm going down here 52, 51, 50, 49. I've broken out of my patch bank of the 50s, okay? Now I can go back in the 50s. However, if I'm in setup and I put patch bank on, I cannot get out of 50. It just keeps cycling me through 50, okay? So that may be really good. I can do it here. I can do it here. Now I can get to 30, right? So that may be how you want to do it too. Like if I've set this up for my rock songs and I don't want to accidentally clip over into my ballads or something like that, right? It just would cycle me through my rock songs, right? So that might be pretty cool. Maybe the way you want to work, maybe not the way you want to work. It's up to you. That's why I consider that to be a little bit more of like a performance option. So that's option number 4, or function number 4 in the system settings, setup. Man, we are almost done now. It's just power and LCD. This tells you what kind of battery you have, nickel metal hydride or alkaline battery. Most everybody has alkaline these days. The eco function off and on. If this is on the unit and it's on battery power, the unit powers off after 10 hours. There's no way to set the timeout on it. These last 2 are for the LCD panel. The backlight function on or off. As you can see, I can toggle that on. And then the contrast, however much contrast you want to dial into your screen. And believe it or not, that is it. Those are the 4 secondary operating modes of the Zoom G1X-FOUR and G1-4 pedal from Zoom. And those 4 minor or secondary operating modes are accessed, 3 of them, by the cycling of this left button, which is memory, or the default mode, Stomp-Box, where you can turn things off and on, edit, where you can actually edit the effects and the parameters of the pedals in each slot in your pedal chain. The right button takes us into and out of the system settings. So that's it for the G1X-FOUR. However, I do want to do one more thing. I want to throw in a freebie here for you because I think it might help. It helped me. And that is, if you've got the G1X and you've got the expression pedal over here, how does this expression pedal work? What can you and what can't you control with this expression pedal? I'd like to show you that and like to talk about that real quick. So let's do that. The first thing you need to know is this effects pedal, this expression pedal, controls a pedal in the pedal chain. You can't actually control parameters of something else. Let me explain what I mean. Let's go up here to, let's go to my acoustic one. I happen to know I have a pedal right there set for volume. So let's go to Effects 4, or Slot 4, which is Pedal Volume. There is actually a selection of pedals that use the expression pedal. Here's a plate reverb. See, I'm out of it now. Oh, process overflow. That's another thing we need to talk about. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. For the moment, we're going to just talk about selecting these pedals for the expression pedal. And here are the options. You have a volume pedal, a wah pedal, a pitch bend pedal, a vibrato, wah, 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 you know, like vibrato channel on an amp, and a delay. You can control the delay. You can control the reverb, and a total, just a whole everything output pedal, so that you could mute everything by just tapping it down if you wanted to do that. Those are the pedals that correspond to the expression pedal. That's it. You can't actually use the expression pedal to say move the gain on a tube screamer or something like that. That would be so very cool, but you can't do that. So what exactly does the pedal control on each of these? Well, once you come in, it controls basically the first one here, and you see the little P icon. That means the pedal controls the volume. So here's pedal volume, and it controls the volume. The wah pedal controls frequency. No, you can't change it to these other ones. There's no way to do that. It just tells you that's what you control. The pitch, it controls the pitch bend. You can set it up or down, type of a thing. Vibrato, it controls the speed, not the intensity or the depth, but the speed of the vibrato. On the delay, it controls the input level, not the delay time or something. It's just the input level of the delay. The reverb, input level of the delay, not the decay or anything like that, right? And then the output volume pedal. So that's where you can activate this volume pedal, is only by selecting pedals in the pedal chain here, in the effects chain, that have that are set up for the volume pedal. Sorry, I'm kind of stuttering. I hope that makes sense to everybody. The reason I'm stuttering is because I'm not wanting to forget. We want to get back here to this. And this is something you need to know about as well. The attempted patch here is FD Spring. So this is a spring reverb. Fender spring reverb is what this is supposed to be emulating. And you can see it says process, overflow, change effect. That means end of line. You can't use that effect here in this slot with all the other effects that are currently set up. Just can't, there's not enough memory in the unit. No, you can't add more memory. I wish we could. And I don't know why they didn't simply just add enough internal memory or processing power for this not to happen. But it does happen. So therefore, it's somewhat untrue to say you can have any effect in any order up to 5. You can have up to 5. And you can put any effect in here. And basically, it kind of can be in any order, but you never know. Some of these are more memory and processor intensive, so it will not allow you to put that particular effect along with the other ones in the signal chain. I hope that makes sense. What I could do is come over here, though, and I actually could take this, and what if I go to bypass? Now this comes back. You see that? That was not available a minute ago. FD Spring wasn't, but I took out the 5th one, and that gave me enough processing ability to get this one in. Of course, I lost my reverb now, so you may want to say, what do we do now? Well, I don't know. Let's go back and see if there are any reverbs. There's limiters, wah, parametry, filters, drive, stomp, boost, gold drive. Here, hit that again. Let's see if it gives us anything. Oh, lots of those aren't working. Woo. Look at all those. There's some cabinet emulators are working okay, it looks like, in this one. Yeah. Stereo chorus flanger. We're coming up to a pitch shift. Clone, bomber, hotspot, delay, analog, echo, reverse, mod, delay, soft echo, room, hall. So here's a nice hall reverb. Sorry it took a while to get that. But as you can see, it takes a while to cycle through some of this stuff. So you may want to use that category option if you want. It's just kind of hard to do when you're using your feet on this. So it gives me Hall. HD Hall, no such luck there. Process, overflow, change effect. But at least I got a Hall reverb out of it. So I was able to bring this signal chain back and do what I wanted to do with it with that spring reverb, even though I was hitting a process overflow. And that is how you handle it when you hit that error. Wow. Let's get out of this. I hope you're having a good day, and I hope this video has been helpful. That's it for the Zoom G1X-FOUR. We've covered the 4 primary modes. We've covered the 4 secondary modes, and I'm going to start watching some videos and learning about the Guitar Lab software. Who knows, maybe we do a 3rd video on that. If you'd like that, comment down below. Please subscribe to my channel. Hey, and let me say, if you don't mind, I mean, hey, what the hell? If this is helpful at all to you, you can say thank you by like buying, and you're going to buy this pedal anyway, please buy it from my Amazon affiliate link down in the description below. That would be super helpful for me. It doesn't cost you a dime more. You can even select Amazon Smile program and get some of the money to go to your favorite charity. That's pretty cool. But using my affiliate link doesn't charge you any bit anymore, but it, it gives me a few bucks. And please give the video a thumbs up, and please subscribe to the channel. Man, that's the best way you could say thanks. And please comment. I make it a point to respond to every legitimate comment that is ever posted on my videos. So if you have any questions, I will really do my best to answer them. Okay, take care. Peace, love. What's our buddy say? All the peace, all the love, all the power.